President-elect Donald Trump, he has just selected a true swamp creature to be his assistant secretary of tax policy. And that's really, it's honestly, it's bad news for all of us, but great news for the corporations that Trump loves to serve. Here is what you need to know. Trump's pick for the position is a man named Ken Kies. He is the managing director of a lobbying firm called the Federal Policy Group, and some of their clients include Microsoft, Pfizer, General Electric, and many, many others. The Federal Policy Group's website states that Kies has delivered significant legislative and regulatory results for his clients. And if Kies is confirmed, it is all but certain that he will be working to deliver corporate tax cuts for his former customers. If Trump and the incoming Republican Congress succeed in lowering the corporate tax rate to 15%, Microsoft would receive an annual tax break of $4 billion, according to one analysis. That analysis by the Center for American Progress found that if a corporate tax rate of 15% was implemented, it would give the largest 100 US companies, the Fortune 100, a total estimated annual tax cut of $48 billion. They reported $1.1 trillion in profits in their last annual report. It would give 10 of the largest US companies alone, including Meta, Comcast, and JP Morgan Chase, a total estimated annual tax cut of $23 billion. They reported more than $520 billion in profits. And it would give the 5 largest US oil companies, that's ExxonMobil, Chevron, Marathon Petroleum, Phillips 66, and Valero Energy, an annual total estimated tax cut of $2.2 billion. And they reported more than $80 billion in profits. For context, the corporate tax cuts for just the largest 100 companies would be larger than the entire fiscal year 2024 US Department of Education K-12 budget. So per the Washington Post, Trump and his allies have a number of proposals for making up that massive chunk of revenue that would be lost. And those include lots of tariffs, repealing clean energy programs, canceling student loan forgiveness, eliminating the education department, cutting food stamp benefits, or implementing work requirements. I'm laughing because this is so crazy. Ending the requirement for Medicaid and Medicare to cover drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy and other options. Only time will tell what Trump and his administration will ultimately decide to pursue. But Trump is tipping his hand early thanks to nominations like Ken Kies's. And speaking of nominations, Trump said Thursday that he has selected Samantha Schwab to serve as deputy chief of staff at the Treasury Department. Schwab is the granddaughter of billionaire investor Charles Schwab, who donated $1 million to Trump's 2017 inaugural fundraising committee, according to Bloomberg. Well, this is exactly what we all should have expected when we reelected this guy. If Americans want this country to be run like a business, then this is it. This is what it looks like, right? Businesses only ever care about enrichment, about beating last year's numbers, about cutting more and extracting more. This is what that looks like. Mark, we'll start with you. Do you see any way the US will ever be able to wrangle itself free of this sort of crony corporatism? It really feels like a mindset that we all function under. So it would have to be almost a collective mindset shift.
Yeah, I mean,
what it means to be an American.
Right, the pendulum swing all the way back after this. I don't know if you can, find the breadcrumbs after this Trump administration 4 years. And let me just be clear, when you talk about running it like a business, this is a bad business he's going to run. Okay, so he's not even running it like a business that's going to make money or do well by most Americans. I mean, he's a train wreck when it comes to running a business. He bloated the deficit the first time through his first 4 years, and he's going to do it again. All of this stuff, like we're going to pay for it this way, we're going to pay for it that way, forget about it. It just isn't going to happen in any kind of substantial way, because you're going to need congressional buy-in, and it'll be really hard to get that congressional buy-in. Look, you're so right. What we should have expected is exactly what's happening. It's the invasion of the oligarchs in a naked way in Washington of the sort that we really haven't seen in the past. These guys are serving up $1 million checks to Donald Trump like short order chefs. It's incredible how many people are giving $1 million here, $1 million there. That's all for his inauguration. And then, as you say, as the ramp up to the presidency, he gets these big donors, $1 million check writers into his circle of people who are populating his administration. And I'll just mention one other thing at the IRS. the guy who he's nominated to run the IRS is a guy who barely has certification to be a tax advisor. He went through a weekend, like a long weekend seminar, and he's now going to run the Internal Revenue Service. He doesn't even have the required rigorous training that is usually demanded of somebody who's going to be, for example, even just a CPA. So you have two things happening in the Trump administration. One is the oligarchy run wild, rich people just being assigned to things, and incompetence run wild. People who are either loyal or big donors being put in charge of things that they have absolutely no conception how to run.
Yeah, only the best people, right? I mean, isn't that Trump's motto, only the best people? And I think Mark's right too about just how quickly things are going to blow up this time. This isn't even good business. Bernie Madoff had a sound business plan compared to this, okay? It went on for decades. This will blow up quickly and we will all suffer the consequences. And as you were reading that tariffs and all this silly season nonsense, it's going to pay for it. Yeah, as I was thinking to myself, again, I want to shake people. Hey, it's not like he hid it. He said, this is what I'm going to do. He, of course, put a title on it, Make America Great Again. And then everything under it was the opposite. And people said, oh, that's my guy. I shop at Walmart and this is my guy. And so here we are. It doesn't surprise me one bit. We have familiar names like Schwab, okay? And that's not an indication of what's about to go down. I don't know what is. Starve people, change Medicare, let them be fat, starve them, whatever. This is what we're going to do. We're just going to cut, and take all the riches for the uber wealthy.
Yeah. And I feel like part of the conversation that's often missing when we talk about running the country like a business is what it means to run a business, right? I feel like before it meant creating a valuable product or service that benefits customers, or in this case, constituents, while maintaining profitability and encouraging growth and innovation, with the understanding that you're going to have to spend money in certain places in order to overall have a better organization. And these days, I feel like it just means finding as much money as possible for the very, very, very few people at the top. So what kind of business are we trying to run? The old school definition of what it is. I have an MBA, by the way. I don't use it, but I have it. And that was what I was taught in my master's program. What we're seeing today is just crony capitalism. And it seems to have no end in sight, because now the people who would be in charge of regulating those things are the ones who are being put in place to to support that kind of crony capitalism.
Well, if you have an MBA, you're overqualified to serve in the Trump administration. They're looking for people with absolutely no training and no experience, but utter loyalty. And the other thing that you remember, it's a government. The American government is not a business. So even if they were trying to run it as a business, which, as I say, I think is all just subterfuge, there are many parts of the American government that are associated with things that are going to lose money. We're not trying to make money everywhere. Many government programs are associated with things that we raise tax money to do. And so to run this country as a business is absurd on its face. It's just not the way government is set up.
Yeah, absolutely. Sharon, any final thoughts before we go to break?
No, I just that I agree. You hear often, even if it's just rhetoric, balance the budget. That's not what businesses want to do. They want to make more and more and more profit over fitness sometimes. But this is a train wreck. So you look out, get out of the way if you can.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.